Welcome back to yet another video. By looking at the thumbnail, you must have already got to know we are talking about the JWT token. So, if you are building a web applications or you're working with the APIs, you must have probably heard of JWT, that is JSON Web Token. But how to secure them? That is exactly what we are going to deep dive in this today. So JWT are one of the most commonly used tools for authentication and the authorization on the web, right? But if you don't understand how to secure them properly, your application might be at risk. So in this video, we will break down the security secrets to keep your JWT safe, covering everything from the application algorithm you should use to the security best practices. So if you are a developer or a security enthusiast, this is video is for you, and it has a good guide. And trust me, you don't want to miss this, because this has got all the JWT security related, and you will be at the updated point. So whether you are just getting started with the JWT or you are looking it up to, for the security game, hit the bell icon and make sure you subscribe the channel. So let's get started. So JSON Web Token, it has become very widely popular because it is used for securing and transmitting the information between the two parties, right? So these are all compact, like URLs and commonly used web authentication, right? Authorization process. However, the security of the JWT is always going to be, how they are implemented, right? So the way it is implemented, that is how it solely, make it secure. So this is a guide which will help you understand how the JWT works, how to secure them, and we also discuss how we can avoid those in the JWT applications. Okay, so look forward, stay back, and look forward for the video. Now, if you look at the overview, right, what exactly is JWT token? Now, this is one of the standardized format for securely transmitting the information. So, whether the two parties are communicating, right? So, then these two parties are going to make use of the JSON object, and they are going to communicate secretly. So that it is a compact URL. It is it is URL safe, and it can be digitally signature as well. So it is encrypted, or you can also do the encryption. So it is most widely used for authentication and the authorization purpose when we are using in the web application, or you are dealing with the microservices or an REST API has been developed, right? So there exactly we use it. Now, if you break down that particular JWT, it consists of majorly three parts. Okay, so one is header, one is payload, and one is signature. Now, if you look at the header section, it is going to contain the metadata about that particular token. So basically, what happens is that the token is what something is going to play, right? So if you JWT, right, JSON Web Token, so it's a token which is going to be used, and it is underneath, it is going to use the algorithm basically, because if you are trying to make something secure, there has to be some algorithm used for signing it, right? So basically, there is an HS256 algorithm, there is an RS256 algorithm, right? That's what we make use of. So that's part of the signature in the head of the JWT. Now, after that, you have a second. After the header, there will be a dot, and after that, there will be a payload. Now, if you see, it is a body that is going to contain under the token, right? So it contains some claims or some data such as user information, role, etc. Right? So it will contain all the information over there. So this can also be customized, and then you can make use it. But yeah, then after there is an again dot, and then there will be a signature. Now this is a cryptographic hash that it is used as a token that is not, if you are not uh, the message is not tampered somewhere. So this is going to be a signature, but it ensures that it is untampered. Okay, so when you're creating the header, when you're creating the payload and the secret key, it should be in the symmetric, and then based on that, right? So then you can make use of the private key as a thing. So the basic structure, if you see that, as I mentioned, there is a dot between each three section, right? The header, then the dot, then the payload, then the dot, and then the signature. So that's how the signature will look out, and we'll definitely go to one of these website. I will show you how exactly it is structured. Now, how typically when dealing with the client server model, right? When you're dealing with a client going to request something, and you're going to get the information from the server, right? The flow is normally like, you log in into something, right? You log into any application. So first you have to add your credentials, or no matter whatever, right? So LDAP or SO. So we have to first go through that particular process of logging in. After that, the process of token generation comes in picture. So because without knowing, like, who are you, right? So there is like, there will be nothing, right? So if you have to first successfully identify yourself, then you have to log in, and then you have to going to generate that particular JWT token, so which is going to contain some user related information, because it will contain some user information and the size signature, which is going to be a secret key or a private key, right? So that's quite important to ensure that there is nothing tampered. After that, the token storage related thing. So it is going to, once it is generated, right, it is going to send back to the client, like, the when the client is accessing from the browser or from the application. So it is going to be typically stored in your local storage, like, session storage, or such a, in your browser the secure cookies are there, right? So there it is going to store. After that, it with the subsequent, the first request whenever it is sent, right? After that, the token which is received from the client, right, at this client end, now it is going to, on the subsequent request, whichever it is trying to access that particular request, in that particular section we are going to pass the token over there. Now the JWT token the client will send to the server. Now in that, what happens is that there is an header section, authorization bearer header section, where you mention that, the bearer and the JWT token. So it is going to validate your token signature, like, the circle signature key hash code, it is valid or not, it is not expired or not, everything will be taken, checked, and then, it is a valid, it's come from the genuine source or not, and everything, and this is the issued token or not. So that's been validated. After that, it is, everything is valid and everything is okay, and there is nothing tampered in the signature as well. Then the token is considered to be valid, and, like, it is not if it is not expired, it will definitely grant the access, and the further steps of, accessing the resource will be done. Now, there are some security concerns with I mean, it is addresses, and then we can make use of JWT to secure it, right? So one is like, we have to use the strong signing algorithm. So already discussed, right? So JWT as a whole is going to depend on the algorithms, but we are going to use it, right? So there are, like, HS 256, which is called HMAC with SHA 256, right? So this is an algorithm which is symmetric signing, right? So it has to be applied in both client and the server side. I mean, the same secret key has to be used up, right? Now we have RS 256, which is, asymmetric basically, and where the server is going to use the private key to sign in the token, the client is going to use the public token. Okay, so that's the way to verify it. Now, I would always, I would say, mostly use the asset symmetric, because it is going to be better for the security, right? We have RSA 250 or ES 256, right? But if you are not very much, thinking about the security, the less security version, that is symmetric algorithm, can also be used, which is less secure. And if the key is leaked, or also if it is compromised, right? So that's what we can use. Now, never use your non-algorithm. So basically, you have to allow, non-algorithm to use. Meaningful here, there will be no unsigned things, right? The token will be unsigned. So this is one of the major security risks, because the attacker will definitely, able to modify the token without any signature being verified. So this is also to ensure that, you're using the signed token and a delivery token, which is having some secure algorithm, right? So any token which is, non-algorithm, we have to definitely reject it. Now we have to implement the proper key management. Basically, there are, it's a crucial when you're implementing the security aspect of the JWT. So if your security key or the private key is leaked up, right? So attacker can forge the valid token whatever you have generated. So always try to rotate the key regularly, and, try to store them in some of the secure places like environment variable, or, security management tools, right? Anything like that, and you have to keep them very safe, so that, there is no unauthorized access. Now always have a set expiration duration date for it, because often it happens that when you're trying to authenticate something and your expiration, right? So there is some limitation, date validity for it, right? So if there is no expiration, the token could be potentially misused, and it can be used for the various times, right? So it is going to further increase your things, the token which is linked up, right? So always use an expiration token which is going to be used up, and set an appropriate time for it. So maybe for the duration, based on your requirement. So it is going to always going to improve your security. You can have your refresh tokens to be initialized, etc. Now, using the secure storage, right? So whenever you are using the whenever you're storing the JWT token on the client side, right, it is going to be matter greatly, right? So storing in the local storage or in the session storage, it is going to be accessible with the JavaScript, and it is going to be make you vulnerable with such things as attacks, cross-site scripting attacks, right? So definitely you try to store it in a secure in a HTTP token only, and then you can so that you can mitigate the risk. Okay, so always use HTTP only as a protocol, and secure cookies to store the derivative tokens, which will prevent your access to the JavaScript, and ensure that the token is not transmitted over the HTTPS, right? Now what we can do is that we can make use of the leverage that refresh token. So basically when you're using JWT token, and which is often a short-lived, right? So refresh token can help you generate the new token without you going to require to log in again into the system. So refresh token plays a very quite important role, and it can be stored in securely in such secure cookies, right? So and there is also a validity which can be managed. So always used refresh token for the long live sessions, and ensure they are properly being stored and transmitted. I hope this video was helpful to you, and you got an understanding of what is JWT, when to how to secure it and use it, right? And what are the different aspect of it. If this video was helpful, please share it with the needy people, and also don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the